from Rain Country. God is good all the time. And I'm here today to talk about why years ago we threw out all of our Teflon. So Teflon is the brand name for polytetrafluoroethylene. There, I said it. I was afraid I wasn't going to be able to get it out. It's such a long word. Polytetrafluoroethylene. So what some people may not realize is that the fluoro part of that whole name is fluorine, which is one of the most toxic halogens on the periodic table. It's also where fluoride comes from and why so many of us wanted to get away from having fluoride added to our water and stopped using fluoridated toothpaste. So back in about 2012, when I finally made the decision that that's it, we need to stop taking these thyroid medications. What can we do to help heal our thyroid? What things can we add, be it herbs or food, and what things should we take away? And one of the big ones I was finding was fluoride. And yes, that included the Teflon pans. And so those things got tossed. At the time, our city was still fluoridating the water. We came up with our own rainwater catchment system, mostly for that purpose, as well as the whole idea of being a little more self-sufficient and not always having to rely on the city tap water. But thankfully, they did stop fluoridating. And by the way, I got to have a little part in that, a little say in that, because my presentation was read at the city council when they were voting on that. So that was a really big thing. So it's really important to understand that when you're using Teflon, especially if you're using Teflon at 300 degrees and above, you are really putting your health at risk. So not only can it damage your thyroid, it can have so many other effects, negative effects on your body and to your health. And you can look it up. The list is long of the things that this can do to you. And here's the interesting thing about fluoride is it can actually cause brittle bones. So people can think, oh, fluoride makes our teeth stronger. Well, teeth are bones. So really, you're not helping yourself any by drinking fluoridated water or using fluoridated toothpaste or getting fluoride treatments. You possibly could be making your teeth more brittle and thus maybe not being able to have them as long as you could. So anyway, for us, the number one thing was just trying to get control of, get our thyroid glands to heal so we did not have to take the medication any longer. And I slowly weaned us both off our medications, and we have been off of them since 2012. And we're doing great years later. So that was the main reason. And so when you're talking about cooking with anything with a Teflon coating, they say it's generally safe as long as you keep the temperatures low, but what do a lot of people do with Teflon pans? Sometimes they fry in them. Most likely they're cooking things in them above 300 degrees. Now, I know some people are using like Teflon sheets for dehydrating. Personally, I would not do that and would not recommend it, but as with my silicone sheets that I use for dehydrating, keeping it under a certain temperature, there's far less of a concern. And since I never dehydrate anything above 125 degrees, that's the highest I go, I'm not concerned about it. And I don't use silicone for baking ever or anything super hot and that's going to be touching my food. So even though silicone does have its issues, I would still consider it a far safer option for your dehydrating than anything with a Teflon coating. Now, here's another thing about Teflon. When you're talking pans, how many people have had to toss their Teflon and get more, constantly having to replace it, sometimes every year, because that coating starts to flake off? Where do you think that coating is going? It's getting in your food, so you are consuming it. So even if you cooked it at a lower heat, you're very likely still consuming it. The higher heat can cause fumes that you're going to breathe in that are going to be toxic. So that's going to cause long-term health issues. And so that's just a couple of things to think about when it comes to using Teflon. Now, people will ask, and I've covered this before, what are my favorite types of cookware and bakeware to use? Well, when it comes to anything pan related, bread pans, pizza pans, frying anything, etc., I always go with the cast iron. So this I just took off. I got the handle on here because I just took it off my wood stove, because I actually basically re-season the pans after every use just to keep a good coating on them. And I love my cast iron. And even though I have to be careful with iron intake, I never have issues with cast iron. I was concerned at first, but after all these years of using cast iron pans, I have found I have no issue with them. So that's one. The two other main things I like to use for cooking and baking are going to be stainless steel. So usually that's going to be my pots and glassware. So I have a couple of bakeware pans that are stainless steel, and I have some that are glass. Those are my very favorite to use. The other thing I do not use is aluminum. That's another set of bakeware that, as I came across yet another aluminum thing, that also got tossed. So aluminum can be natural occurring, and it's impossible to avoid it all. And I don't fear aluminum that is naturally occurring in things like salt, vegetables, and all that. There will be really small amounts that you shouldn't have to worry about. But because of the overexposure we get already to aluminum, this is why we try to avoid it in all its more unnatural forms, such as adding to baking powder, not baking soda. It's never added to baking soda, and baking with it, or maybe even breathing it in the air or whatever. So we try to avoid it as much as possible to keep it down to what its normal limits are. Oh, and then the other thing I do like to use on occasion is for cookies is I do have a couple of stoneware baking sheets, and that's pretty much all I have for the stoneware that I use, and I do love that for my baking sheets. So anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there. So if you're using Teflon on a regular basis for cooking and baking, please look into it further for yourself. Remember the full name of that. You can just type in Teflon and learn more about it. And because it's going to be hard to remember polytetrafluoroethylene and how to even spell it. Teflon's the easiest way, even though it is actually a brand name. It will take you to where you need to go, so you can look up, what are the dangers, and, yes, you'll see stuff that's generally recognized as safe, but you can learn, like you just put in, what are the dangers of using Teflon, and you'll find more information from very reliable sources, not just side sources, but you can find it from very reliable sources. Even Consumer Reports has a thing on Teflon or polytetrafluoroethylene and why it's not really a great thing to use. And while I know especially when it comes to dehydrating, we're trying to do the best we can to be able to dehydrate liquids and stuff, because cloth covers and such, or even mesh things, liquids are just going to go right through it. So, getting away from the plastics and getting away from the Teflon, silicone isn't absolutely ideal, but it is going to be the safer choice to the others. But then again, typically if you're dehydrating at low heats anyway, you may not have as much to concern yourself with. So again, just look into it for yourself and then make your choice from there. No judgment on my part. I just want to share that this is why we avoid Teflon or fluoride in any form, fluorine in any form, as best as we can. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. Any thoughts you'd like to share, please put them in comments down below. And thanks for watching. Take care and God bless.